The Corcoran Entertainment Show is brought to you by PodMatch, the ultimate platform designed to connect podcast hosts with prospective guests effortlessly. Are you a podcaster looking to elevate your show to new heights? Or perhaps you're a guest hoping to share your story with a broader audience. Whatever your podcasting goals are, we have the perfect solution for you. PodMatch simplifies the entire process of discovering guests for your show or finding podcasts to feature your expertise. Now imagine a platform where you can easily match with like-minded creators tailored specifically to your niche. With PodMatch, you can effortlessly network with influencers and thought leaders, all while staying true to your podcast vision. There are a multitude of ways that PodMatch can help you grow your brand. You could be part of a thriving community of podcasters and potential guests. Engage, collaborate, and grow together. If you're ready to experience these fantastic benefits for yourself, we invite you to join PodMatch today. Head over to www.joinpodmatch.com/Corcoran Entertainment and sign up right now for only $6 a month. That's right, you heard me right, $6 a month. Join the PodMatch family today and watch your podcast soar to new altitudes. Thank you for tuning into the Corcoran Entertainment Show, and happy podcasting. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Corcoran Entertainment Show. I am your host, Frankie Corcoran. Happy Thursday, everybody. Everybody in the Miramichi and surrounding areas. We're currently hit with a major snowstorm. So last week's intro kind of started as a self-care, encouraging everybody to keep their health in check, coming off the heels of my battle with the flu. And now it is back right to weather. So a little bit of storm or snow today. So be sure to take all the proper precautions and all that stuff, guys. And we're almost through it. So today's guest, I'm super excited about today's podcast. Very, very happy to have him on here. Alex Sanfilippo. For those of you guys who are longtime listeners of the podcast, I've had a little advertisement, so to speak, for PodMatch, which has helped this podcast grow tremendously. Essentially, as it was described in the intro, is a platform designed to connect podcast hosts with guests and grow their brand, and essentially a dating app for podcasters. So we have the man behind all of this today. So as the title of the episode suggests, the boss is here. The man who has really helped this podcast soar to new altitudes is our guest today, Alex Sanfilippo. Thank you very much, Alex, for taking the time to come on. He's a very busy guy, and was very lucky that we had the chance to speak to him today. So for anybody who wants to sign up for PodMatch, be sure, as the advertisement said, the link is in our episode description. Join podmatch.com/Corcoran Entertainment. Use our link to let PodMatch know that we sent you. So hope you guys enjoy the episode. Anybody who is an aspiring podcaster, artist, whatever the case may be, PodMatch is a perfect platform for you to get recognized. So thank you very much, Alex, for coming on. We had a great conversation. Hopefully you guys enjoy it as well, too. If you like the episode, as always, just be sure to give us a nice little review rating. Always helps the show out. And without further ado, guys, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show today. All right. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Corcoran Entertainment Show. I am your host, Frankie Corcoran, and today I am joined by a very, very special guest. For any of you regular listeners of the podcast, I always throw out some promotions for PodMatch, which is essentially, we were kind of talking about this, a dating app designed for podcast hosts and podcast guests to kind of streamline the process. It's truly something that has helped this podcast soar to new altitudes, and I'm very, very thankful for it. And we have the man behind it. We have the look alive, guys, because the boss is in the room right now. So a truly great honor to have him on here on the show today. He's the founder of PodMatch. He also hosts the podcast Podcasting Made Simple, which you can find anywhere where you listen to your podcast across all platforms. Alex Sanfilippo. Alex, how's it going, man?
Frankie, I'm doing great. I'm really glad to be here today. And by the way, I just got to mention, I love the humor you interject into your show. Like, you get the idea of entertainment. I think a lot of people don't. So it's in the name, and you actually reinforce it with the way that you host the show. So thank you for having me today. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, well, there. Well, thank you, and that means a lot coming from you. I mean, I mean, in a way, this podcast probably wouldn't be where it is without the amazing work that you've done through PodMatch. I mean, like when I kind of started off, I was just interviewing people, and I still interview people locally and stuff like that too, to kind of still, promote local events and local shows and things like that. But to for the reach that we've been able to get our podcast to, like I checked our Spotify for Creators, which is where we distribute it from. Uh, I'm from Canada, and a majority of our listeners are in the US. So I don't think it probably would have made it to that point if it wasn't for you. So I really just want to thank you for that. When you started PodMatch, did you ever think it would ever get to this point where you have so many people around the world who are better artists, who are better podcasters because of the platform that you created? Like, did you ever imagine, in even in your wildest dreams, that this would be a reality?
No, I can say it with total confidence. I don't mean to like answer it so quick. I didn't even have to think about it. Absolutely not. I had no idea. The reality is, when I got started, it was me and two other co-founders. So there's three of us total. And we were just like, man, if this could somehow help like 1,000 people in the podcasting space one day, like that would be the dream. And the reality is, within 2 weeks of launching Podmatch, we had thousands of people using it. So it was like blew through that dream real quick. But still, to this day, I feel like I have to pinch myself most days. Like the impact it's had is really cool. And what I like about it is, like, I'm not becoming some sort of like influencer or the person like leading the way. It's literally just podcasters using something that's helping them, and they're growing their influence. And I love kind of being in the backside, like not having to like be the face of it necessarily all the time. Like, not because I don't like love that or want that or anything like that, but it's just cool to see like we're literally enabling creators. And so for me, like, no, to answer your question, like I never thought I'd be doing what I'm doing. I never thought it'd have the impact that it has. I am so grateful. And am I loving it? Absolutely. And am I stewarding that the best I can? Absolutely. I'm doing my best here, but I would have never seen this coming.
And it's really, I find that's how a lot of these dreams start. I mean, like even me starting like my own creative ventures, Cork and Entertainment, and then of course the podcast here. Did I think I'd still be doing it all these years later? No, not really. It was just kind of one of those things. I'm like, I'll just play it by ear. Maybe I'll do it for a month or two, and then it just got fun, and it got to the point now where being able to grow your brand and being able to network with so many people. I've been very, very grateful to have so many amazing guests on, as yourself too, and so it's truly been a great experience. But can you take me back a little bit to when before you started Podmatch? So of course you kind of started off in the corporate world. You had a corporate job before being able to podcast full time. Take me back to a little bit. What made you really, really want to pursue podcasting as a career? And did you ever think it was feasible to pursue as a career? Because I mean, there's some days where people podcast and they always say, "I wish I could do this full time." You've been able to do it full time, which I mean, that's it certainly took some time for you for sure, but you've definitely made it work. So, kind of take me back a little bit to when you started and kind of how it all came into fruition to where it is now.
Yeah, definitely. So I come from corporate, and by the way, everyone, it's not in entertainment. I think most people would assume like I had some sort of radio background or TV or movie background or something like that. I was actually working in the aerospace industry. Before anyone gets excited, Frankie, you know this, but maybe your listeners don't. I wasn't an astronaut, I wasn't a skydiver, and I wasn't a fighter pilot. So I just gotta give that the disclaimer. There was nothing interesting. We were focused below the atmosphere. We were a parts manufacturer. I did love that job, but I'll just tell you, it's boring to talk about. But I did love it until a certain point in that company. There was one day where someone approached us to buy out the company and to merge it with a much larger, actually Canadian organization. And it was down here in Florida, where I still live. And it was a great opportunity. And I was one of the head people for the team on the team to help with that acquisition, that merger. It was a great learning experience. But I'll tell you what happened. As soon as we went public and we were part of now being like a public organization, the culture shifted, and it shifted really fast. And here's the example I'll give you. And this was like the moment that made me realize I think I'm ready for something else. I was overseeing 5 divisions of the company. I got promoted to the C-suite level after the acquisition happened, which I was really grateful for. Now we're part of a multi-billion-dollar organization. And I did something in one of my divisions which saved the company 10% in that section. Again, we're talking billions of dollars. So for me, it was like, that's huge, right? Like, and I was like, man, I can't wait to go to the CEO, like, because that's who I report directly to. So I walked down to his office. I was like, hey, Paul, did you see the numbers? And his response, Frankie, was like this. He goes, yeah, Alex, I saw the numbers. And I could like hear the distress in his voice. So you realize like we saved that money, right? Like, and he's like, no, Alex, I know, I know what it is. And I heard the frustration, so I just kind of put my hands in. I'm like, well, what's wrong? And he's like, we didn't tell the board we are going to do that. Shareholders had no idea. People selling the stocks didn't know. Like that was a big, bold move, and we just need to voice that type of thing. You can't just go trying stuff like that anymore. I didn't end up getting in trouble that day, but we had a 5 to 10 minute conversation where I left the office feeling a little bit defeated for something that was actually really good. But I can remember that was the first time in that office after years of being there. Not saying I didn't have ups and downs, but it was the first time in that office I was thinking to myself, this is a long walk from his office to mine. And the reality is it wasn't. But I just realized that, you know what? Maybe as much as I've enjoyed corporate, maybe like big corporate, publicly traded corporate just isn't for me. And at that point is what really made me like start thinking about, well, what else am I doing? What else do I have going on? And at that point, I had been podcasting for a few years as a hobby. And Frankie, you mentioned something really key. You said, is it actually feasible to like podcast full time? Like, is that actually a thing? Because we were like, oh, I'd love to do it full time, but we haven't registered in our brains it actually is possible. And I was right there with everybody. Like, I was like, okay, well, what else do I love that I'm doing? I'm like, well, I really do enjoy podcasting, but that's not realistic. Or so I thought. But as I started getting into the industry, I realized like there is real opportunity to fill gaps that this newer industry, like if you think about it, like podcasting's mainstream now, but even go back to 2019, 2020, like it wasn't at that point. And there still are gaps today. There was a bunch of gaps back then. There's still gaps. And so for me, to make a long story short, it took me a couple years, but I kind of found my lane in the podcasting space and made it a reality to go from a very boring industry like aerospace, which I loved, to more entertainment based type of industry, which is podcasting. And that was kind of like the evolution of me deciding to leave and actually making it a reality, was stepping into realizing, oh, this is a creative endeavor, but you can actually turn this into a business. Like there is a way to make a lifestyle around this idea of podcasting.
Yeah, it truly is something that like one of the things that people always assume with podcasts is that okay, as soon as you start, you can immediately get sponsors and you can immediately get brand deals and things like that. And it's like, yes, you can get it, but sometimes it doesn't come right away. And I find that's when people get the most frustrated or discouraged because it didn't come right away, or for in some cases it didn't come, period. I always kind of try to view it as do it just because you love it and don't do it for the money. And if it comes your way, then by all means take it. But it's definitely one of those things that it takes time to grow it. It takes time to let's say you have a certain guest that you're like, I'm working towards getting this guest on, but also kind of trying to be realistic. How important is it to be realistic in this type of industry? Like if you go in thinking, I can't wait to interview Bernie Sanders, or I don't know, like some big name in the world. I can't wait to have Taylor Swift on. Which is, not saying it can happen. It's just, it's one of those ones you can't really, bank on it, because then as soon as it doesn't happen, you're like, well, I failed. I guess I got to quit now. How important is it to temper your expectations? I always ask people about this who are in like the entertainment industry, who are actors and stuff, but how important is it for podcasting to be realistic?
Yeah, listen, I absolutely love what you said, Frankie. Like the two key things I literally live by in this space. It takes time. And the way I always say it to newer creators in the podcasting space or YouTube or social media, anywhere, I tell them, hey, it's going to take longer than you think it should. Right. But like results are followed by consistent effort. And I like you brought that up. And to me, that is absolutely key. You're going to have to do this longer than you think you should to get the result that you want. That is just the nature of it. And sometimes we all like to look at the outliers, the people that just like basically hit the lottery, right? They started and it just went successful overnight. That just doesn't happen for the majority of us, right? Myself included. I was podcasting for 6 years before I even had the realization that this could become something. And then the other thing that you mentioned I wanted to highlight is do it because you love it, not because you'll make money doing it. That is absolutely key. And the best creators, what they still all have in common is even if they make money doing it, they do it because they love it. They know there's other ways they can make money. They do it because they love it. I'm telling you, that shines through. Like I'm here today, not because this is going to get me paid somehow, Frankie. And for everyone listening, like I'm not getting paid by Frankie to be here. Like I think we need to make that very clear, right? Like what I'm saying is like this doesn't turn into some sort of business for me. I'm here because I love this. Like this is a great thing. Will eventually someone hire me because of this? Like join PodMatch? Maybe. Like, but if not, that's okay. And so I think I just want to highlight those two things that you said because I think it's so important. And also, it does help manage the expectation, as you said. For me, like I want to just talk about the entertainment side of podcasting because I think it's becoming more and more important. You said how important is it to temper our expectations? Let's just put that in the definition of what it means to entertain, to be in an entertainment space. I consider it to be like on my side of the microphone as a host, the action of providing entertainment and enjoyment, right? So the entertainment is providing enjoyment for somebody else. Enjoyment for me is to educate podcasters. I want to do that in a way that is somewhat engaging, right? And so for me, I think that we have to have our expectations right though. Like if you're doing that, it's going to take time. Finding people to be on your show, it's going to take some time. Growing to reach out to bigger influence and stuff like that, it takes a while. But I'll tell you what, the more passionate and excited you're about it every single day along the way in the journey, the faster it shines through to other people. I've had people on my show that have no business having them on my show, but they literally would say something along the lines of like, I can tell how passionate you are and how much you care. I'll come on your show. Like you're in it for the long haul. I can see that you're like committed to this for regardless of what happens, I'll come be on your show. And I've made some of my best connections just by letting my light shine through what I do. And so I do think we have to temper the expectations. And the best way to do that is remember, it's going to take you longer than you think, as Frankie said. And also do it because you like it. Have fun. Enjoy the process. If you're not enjoying podcasting on either side of the microphone, maybe don't do it. Find something else because there are plenty of other ways to make money.
Oh, definitely. And I like that you mentioned the whole idea of that we're not paying you to be on here is the type of thing. Think about it. Radio stations don't pay or charge people to come on. Like there's no money involved in that whatsoever. Some people assume, okay, to be on the radio, I guess you have to pay a fee. No, like I've literally even like promoting shows and stuff like that and plays that I put on. It's just literally you message the radio station and just say, hey, we have a play. We're just wondering if we'd be able to come on for a interview or whatever. And it's just, yeah, come on, you know. That's literally how easy it is. Now, maybe some radio stations, there's more of a process, but around here, in my experience, it's been they make their money off ad revenue. They make their money on advertising and things like that. So it's not one of those things that you're having to pay a big, large sum of money. The only time you be paying a radio station is if you have an ad that you want to run, like that's kind of that's where their money comes from. And you hear all these different, and it's always so funny whenever people complain about commercials and stuff like that on a TV. It's like, yes, but that's how the networks make their money. You know what I mean? Like this is literally how, and then even like with podcasting where you have like, all these different advertisements and stuff like that. Like, shop here and use a promo code, blah, blah, blah. They're like, do I have to listen to that? It's like, well, yeah, because if they didn't have those, these people probably wouldn't even be doing a podcast. It's really a business that we have to look at, and thankfully doing this, I've been able to see both sides of it and doing entertainment and things like that. I'm able to see and understand certain things, like if there's a movie or something like that isn't good because their budget wasn't as much as they wanted, like it was a smaller budget. I'm able to kind of take a step back and go, okay, I understand, budgetary reasons and things like that. That's always a big factor to play. What would you probably say is the most, through your time podcasting, what has been probably the most consistent, whether it's for you or somebody that the most consistent way to monetize your podcast, whether it's ads, charge, the very rare occasions where people charge to be on each other's shows? What would you say is probably the most common or maybe the easiest way for someone to make money doing a podcast?
Yeah, so it depends on like what we define as money and like currency. I get that, but I mean like what is enough? So an example here is the mass majority of people. It's to find an advertiser, to run ads, to get a sponsor, like that type of thing. And the average podcast, at the time I'm recording this, earns $5.81 per month doing that. So and to me, I'm like, okay, well that's that's not going to pay your podcasting bills. Like I'm not going to even count that as money. Yes, I get that it's currency, but you are spending way more than that to keep it running. If that's what the average podcaster makes on sponsors and advertisers, clearly it's not enough until you reach a certain threshold. And when I look at podcasting from the data side of things, the number one thing that podcasters want is to grow their show. And when you ask why, well, oh, so I can get a sponsor and I'll have enough listeners so that I'm making more than the $5.81 per month, right? And so it's like, okay, well, maybe there's just a different alternative. And so for most common, to answer your question, it's definitely ads, sponsors. But most lucrative, I have a different response. And to me, it's to have your own product or service. And if it's not your own product or service, have someone that you're aligned with that you can promote theirs. And yes, that might be like borderline sponsor, but find a way to be an actual partner in that brand. You can become like the marketing wing, the one that develops a know, like, and trust as a podcaster. But my favorite, once again, is having your own product or service. So for me, like my show doesn't have any ads in it. There's no sponsors for my show because I am my own sponsor. We talk about PodMatch on my podcast, right? And like, yes, I know I run a software company, so it like maybe is more obvious. But if you're like teaching people how to have a better relationship with their kids. Like, let's just use that as an example. Like, maybe that's one of the things. Perhaps you can offer a mastermind, some sort of group training where it's like, hey, once a month, I'm getting together with people. You can pay me here $1,000 for the next 90 days. I'm looking for 20 people to be part of this. It's like, well, that's that's lucrative, right? And the thing is, because you're already behind the microphone, people are already listening. You've developed, once again, that know, like, and trust with them. That's a way, in my mind, to make a lot of money podcasting. And a mastermind or some sort of group training type thing. I know I didn't give much definition of that, but go look that up somewhere if you're curious on like how that works. That is the simplest way for a podcast host, I think, to make livable income as a podcaster if you don't already have a product or service of your own. But here's the thing. Also, if you have a mastermind, a product, a service, something of your own already, don't also look for sponsors. It muddies the water. Just talk about your own brand. Talk about what you do so you can convert people that are listening into what you do versus maybe trying to sell a mattress or something like that, right? And listen, like if you're like, no, but I want to grow a big podcast and go the ad route, that is fine. You can do that. I just want to manage the expectation, as we've talked about earlier as well, right? The average podcaster does that, makes $5.81 a month. The average podcaster who does their own product or service makes a lot more, and it's typically more like a livable income.
Yes, definitely. And affiliate marketing is a big one too. That's
True.
that's
Yeah.
also something that whereas the difference between affiliate marketing and sponsors is that sponsors will literally just give you money to promote their products or their business or whatever the case may be. Whereas affiliate marketing is you make money based off sales using your promo codes and things like that. Like for example, like maybe let's just say you partner with a local cafe or something like that, and go here and use make sure to tell them Corcoran at checkout to get 5% off, maybe or depending on what the cost is or however much they're willing to give and everything. That's affiliate marketing, and then you make the money, a certain percentage off however many sales and things like that. So there's so many different ways that you can make money off of it. And but it's one of those things too that I always say this to people in any type of industry is that when you make that type of money, don't blow it immediately. That's the thing. That's one thing that people always do is that they get a crap load of money and they're like, I'm okay, now I'm gonna buy 5 of these Shure microphones, which it's like, okay, come on, dude. Like, really? Like like it's one of those things. Someone said, well, any of the money you get, you should build a big giant studio and things like that. I'm like, yeah, but a lot of my guests are virtual too, so you kind of have to look at it also from a business side. Why would I? Granted, I have a cool setup here, but like, why would you spend all that money on something that it's like, is it really helping your podcast? Is it, don't fix what isn't broken, unless you're like all your guests are in person type thing. It doesn't really make sense. So is that something that when you see podcasters, because you've seen lots of people come up in this business, what would you say is probably like the most common mistake that's made throughout? Is it money? Is it maybe they don't have the correct editing software? What's probably the biggest one that you've seen in your time podcasting?
Oh man, Frankie, there's so many of them. Uh, so like, just everyone knows who's hearing this, like the failure rate in podcasting on either side of the microphone. So whether you're a guest or a host, so like a guest, like I'm being today, or like Frankie, the host, the failure rate in podcasting would blow your mind because I regularly hear like, oh, well, podcasting seems like it's probably saturated. Well, it's not. The reality is less than 45% of people who start a show even make it to 8 episodes. We're talking 2 months and already 55% are gone. To get to that 50 episode mark, so like 1 year if you're doing a weekly show, basically, it's around 10% that make it. And so it's like, man, a lot of people just don't make it. So there's a lot of reasons people fail. Or it's funny, Frank, you probably know this, but in the business we call it pod fading. So like you pod fade out. So like, but there's so many reasons. And I think the very first one, and I talked about outliers earlier, we all want to look at the top 0.01% of anything and then compare ourselves to them. But the reality is, what you're doing is you're comparing your day one to someone else's year 20. Like Frankie and I both have really good setups and gear, but I don't know you, Frankie. I didn't start with this. Like this microphone, I didn't get this. I think we're using the same microphone actually.
I think so. Yeah, the Shure MV7. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's what I'm using. Yeah, and I didn't get this microphone until my ninth year of podcasting. And like I still don't have like a crazy setup, but people really like it. And I've probably all in all, I'm probably $1,200 in. But again, I've been building this over time, slowly. I didn't say, well, if I don't have a studio like this person, like School of Greatness, if I don't have that type of setup, like I can't do it, right? If I'm not like Joe Rogan, if I hear that one more time, by the way, if I'm not like Joe Rogan, I can't really do this successfully. I'm like, yes, you can. And here's why. One, Joe Rogan's already taken. Like, go be yourself, right? Find your own voice, because that's what people are going to tune in for long term. But also, don't compare someone else's year 20 to your day one. I'll say this about Joe Rogan. Like, yeah, he's done well in podcasting. I don't like listen to his show or anything like that. But I do remember seeing an old picture from his very first episode. He had one microphone. It's called a Yeti, maybe a Yeti Blue or something like that, which is notorious for being not a great podcasting microphone. He had in the middle of a table, and him and a bunch of guys were just in like regular fold out chairs talking. I don't know where I could find that, but I guarantee you it sounded absolutely terrible. My point is, he started just like the rest of us. Everyone that you appreciate in the space started just like us. So for me, the number one problem in podcasting is unmet expectations. And it's not because they're unmet, it's because we have the wrong expectations. Like that's the problem. Like we have to have the realistic idea of like, why am I getting into this? Oh, because I actually I want to share a message that's going to entertain somebody. I want to share a message that's going to help somebody get through a tough day, make them laugh, make them cry, whatever it is that you want to do, right? And I love it. And getting in for that reason will help you stay with it. And there are 100 different things I could mention that are wrong, like between the cracks. But at the end of the day, it's this idea of unmet expectations. I thought I was going to be big really fast, and I'm not. Or I thought this was going to be easier, and it's not. I thought I was going to make money, and I'm not. These are all the different things that connect to it. But the reality is, all the resources you need to do really well are there as long as you can keep your heart and mind right in it.
Yes, definitely. If you guys go on YouTube and look up the Corcoran Entertainment Show, like the first episode, take a look at my mic. That was a $12 mic I got from Staples. It was the cheapest. And then you'll hear it and compared to now, back then, I thought it was crazy because I was just like, oh my God, I'm making a podcast. This is so cool. And then I look back on it now, I'm like, oh my God, like, just compared to what I have now, just a little shitty USB microphone from Staples.
Man, Frankie, I gotta tune in here. You have got like one of the best podcasting voice I think I've ever heard. You got like, we'll call it like a radio voice, right? Like it's so good. I just cannot even imagine you talking into a $12 mic. I'm gonna go find that afterwards. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just had to interject because I love that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Well, that's one thing. I just talk like this normally. So if I'm talking to like my mom always says this to me, I'll be talking to her and she's like, "Why are you yelling at me?" I'm like, "I'm not." She's like, "Yes, I'm right here. You're screaming at me." I'm like, "No, I'm just talking." Like I'm like this is just literally how I talk. And she's like, "Why do you have all those different types of microphones? You don't even need one." Why do you have that? But like and like yeah, like same deal with you. I never started with this mic. I went through that, the old $12 Staples mic, and then through some amazing grants through shout out to Rising Youth, anybody who, in locally who happens to be listening, got some very generous grants updated to the AT 2020. I used that for about a year and a half maybe. And then I decided, had some money saved, went on this and never went back. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. There's the one that's probably it's most used for podcasts, like, here we are comparing to Joe Rogan. But it's the Shure SM7B, which is probably the most common microphone used for podcasting. I thought about buying one time, but then I looked at the price and then I kind of looked. I'm like, why would I fix what isn't broken? Like this works for me. Why would I change that? For a USB microphone, like I think you have the USB version as well too. Sounds fantastic. There's not much editing you have to do with it. With the other ones, I was always having to fix the audio. Like it's one of those things of just if it works, why are you trying to change it? Like were there some things throughout your podcasting journey too that you're like, I want to do this and do this, and then you're like, why am I doing that? Because it's like, what's the point? Have you ever had many situations like that?
Yes, for sure. I tend to actually overcomplicate things. Like as much as I like my show is called Podcasting Made Simple. I'm trying to teach myself, right? Like I'm trying to teach myself, but I tend to overcomplicate things. Like, and I don't mean to, but I'm like, oh, well, to have the right microphone, I need to have like needs to be XLR cable, so it needs like this box, and I need this mixer, and I need the lights to be controlled. But so when I first started the process of like building out my forever studio, which I'm in now, and as I mentioned, it cost me about $1,200. I was originally looking at spending like 10 grand that I didn't have at that time, by the way. But I was like, oh, but I got to build out the list and think through it all. And the reality is, I'm like, well, do you really need all this? And I kind of go back to, it's funny, I'm a big fan of The Office, the TV show. I don't know if Frankie, have you ever seen that one? But
I've seen The Office,
okay,
and some people hate me because I haven't seen like all of it, and they're like, "What do you
that's
mean
okay.
you haven't seen all of it?" I'm like, I've seen a few of them.
It's okay. It's one of the points at one episode. Dwight, one of the characters, is talking to another character, and he's like, Michael gives me this great advice, and he says, "Keep it simple," or he said, "Kiss it, keep it simple, stupid. Great advice hurts my feelings every time." And like I've always kind of like let that stick. I'm like, keep it simple, stupid. Like I have to remind myself that. So I'm not speaking to any listeners today or to you, Frank. I'm speaking to myself. The reality is, like, there have been so many times where I overcomplicate things when I'm making software, when I'm producing the episodes, when I'm thinking about my studio. And at the end of the day, the what I've learned, and it was actually from a friend of mine who wrote a book, and he had this big point in it, like, or this little point in it that stood out to me so much. And he said, if this were easy, what would it look like? And so I just kind of changed that. If this were simple, what would it look like? And so for me, like, if building out my studio was simple, what would it look like? Oh, well, I get a USB microphone that plugs straight into my laptop. And I do the same thing with my camera. USB plugs straight into my laptop. That's simple. And by the way, I have never had anybody other aside from professional studio builders, again, like they're maybe trying to sell me something, right? They're the only people who've ever complained about my audio or my video. Even the guy who does my editing, I have an audio editor, and he says it sounds great. He's like, you sound better than some people with some big studios. I don't even have fancy soundproofing equipment. I have comforters that hang on the behind the door. Like I move them out because like this should work. So the reality is, there's a simple way to solve anything, especially when you're in a creative endeavor like podcasting. There's all kinds of things you can do. So for me, as a guy who overcomplicates things, I'm always reminding myself, if this were simple, what would it take? How would I do it? And keep it simple, stupid. Those are my reminders to myself. And I'm telling you, it's never steered me the wrong way to simplify everything.
This episode of the Corcoran Entertainment Show is brought to you by Holy Hydrogen. Okay, guys, let's be real. We all try our best to stay hydrated, right? But not all water is created equal. That's where Holy Hydrogen comes in. They've got this awesome device called the Lourdes Hydrofix Premium Edition, and it takes clean water to the next level by infusing it with molecular energy. That means you're not just drinking water. You're giving your body extra support with every sip, better energy, less inflammation, and a real boost to your immune system. So try the Lourdes Hydrofix Premium Edition today by going to shop.holyhydrogen.com/Corcoran and use the promo code Corcoran for $100 off your purchase. Again, that's shop.holyhydrogen.com/Corcoran and use the promo code Corcoran at checkout. Stay hydrated and stay healthy. No, that's never bad. Like literally, we're in a world now where where this is even possible to have something like Zoom, where I'm able to do a podcast with somebody who is not even in the same country as me. You know what I mean? You're in Florida still, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, so it's like Miramichi, New Brunswick, Canada, a town that almost every person I have on the show, when I tell them where I'm from, they're like, "What? What's that?" the fact that I'm able to talk to somebody from Florida, the fact that we're talking to all these people from around the world, it's technology has evolved in such a way that really anybody can do a podcast. It's one of those things, and I always try to encourage people. Like I be talking to some people who get really passionate about movies and music and things like that. I'm like, you should start a podcast. You got the passion and everything. Yeah, no, I don't think I have what it takes and everything. And I always say, if I could do it, anybody could. I always try to tell people
I say the same
that.
thing.
We're always like that. It's just like I started from pretty well nothing, and this is where it is now. And we have, as I said, the technology. We have the platforms. PodMatch is one. It's funny. I won't say names on here, but there was somebody that who works at a coffee shop, and he wants to start a podcast and everything. And so I've been helping him out a little bit. And one of the things was he said, I think I'm going to sign up for PodMatch. Was one of the things he said. He said, I want to get different people on, but he's like, I don't really know that many people around here that would be interested. And can you recommend it to me? I said, yes, absolutely. I said, well, it's in literally every episode I do, there's a little like advertisement that I do for it. So I'm always like, yes, definitely. So the fact that there are so many platforms like that out there for people to connect, obviously you're still able to, just because you have one platform that's to connect you with different people, doesn't mean that you can't have anybody on. You can have whoever you want on, but to the point now where you're not scrambling to find somebody. We have ways to get people. We have ways to, even artists who want to promote their own stuff is something big too. If you wrote a book and you're struggling to sell copies, create a guest profile for PodMatch and reach out to people and say, hey, I wrote this book and I'm looking to promote it. Are you interested? Some might be interested, some won't be. It's kind of like the same deal with you auditioning for a role in a movie or a show or a play. It's like you might not get the part, but there will be somebody out there who will say, sure, yeah, come on and we'll talk. And so it's truly just seeing how this platform has evolved. For you, it's truly fantastic. And also something that I've noticed too is that your wife is also such a huge part of PodMatch as well too. Was this something PodMatch? Was it kind of something that you both put together? Did you put it together by yourself, or did she help you out, or did she come on later? Like, how did that whole thing come about with your wife being involved?
So before I answer that, I just gotta say, like for me, my day has been made because you live where most people have no clue where it is. They couldn't point to it out on a map if they tried, right? And you just said that someone in a coffee shop mentioned Podmatch. So like, it just made my day. Like that's my wildest dream come true, right? So and so to answer your question, when Alicia and I got started, like I never envisioned that type of thing ever happening. So yes, like legally, like there's three partners. It's me, my wife Alicia, and our other business partner Jesse, and he's the developer. I kind of do like sales, marketing, this type of stuff. So I have the easiest of the three jobs. But this was kind of how we set it up. And so when we started, we kind of just like my dream was, could we help 1,000 people one day? And so we all kind of planned on keeping our full-time jobs, especially at first, like in all that. But I had no idea what it was going to become. And I will say, like, Alicia has been instrumental since day one because she immediately would come and be like, well, hey, if we ever go bigger than that, we should have a system for this. Here, she's like an operations person. I'll do the systems. I'll handle the support. I'll build out our documentation. So she handles like all that to this day. And from day one, I'm glad she did because I was like, oh, we're kind of small. I don't know if we really need that. Like I don't know if that makes any sense. And then 2 months later, I was like, uh-oh, we need all that, right? And so yeah, from day one, she's been a partner, and now she's like the engine or the glue that holds the whole thing together and makes it work. So I'm very grateful for her, and she's very brilliant when it comes to business. So I kind of follow her lead a lot.
And great at customer service too. Like
Yeah.
anytime there's something that I need clarification on, it's one of those ones like you will send an email to some platforms and they get back to you in like 2 weeks and go, hi, we'll be in touch. PodMatch, you send one and Alicia's the one. She gets back to you like immediately. Oh, yeah, we'll look into that for you. I just think it's so great. I always love hearing stories about whether it's family members or it's spouses being so supportive of what their significant other or their other family members are doing, and they become like the glue that holds the team together. It's such a great system that you've created. And of course, Jesse, who's kind of your developer you mentioned, it's all really podcasting, the fact that we're even able to have our own platforms, the fact that we're able to have a way to reach other people it's truly something that I find it's slowly starting to kind of take over. Like I remember one of the comments I saw on I think it was Theo Vaughn or Joe Rogan or something like that, where they're like podcasting is becoming more relevant than the news. What's your take on that statement? Do you think there's any truth at all to that statement?
Yeah, I do actually. And listen, I gotta say, like, I'm not a political guy. Like, I don't even own a TV, and my smartphone is blocked so much so that I don't even have access to the internet. And so, like, I'm like kind of like I have a lot of friends here locally, but beyond like that, I always say like I know pretty much nothing about almost everything, and that's just the reality of who I am. And so, like, without really knowing how that works. The one thing that I hear commonly just in my day-to-day interaction is like, oh, well, I heard on the news, but you can't really trust that. And so like whenever I hear like, oh, well, you can't really trust that, I'm like, that sounds dangerous, right? Like that sounds a little scary. But I have seen that podcasting is becoming more and more mentioned in daily life. Again, I'm very disconnected from the online world, but I'm very active in the in-person, the IRL, in real life, right? Like that's where I am. And I can hear people anywhere I go, they're referencing podcasting in their daily lives. If I go back 2 years of time recording this, like I didn't hear that. And now I do. And so, yes, I think it's a force to be reckoned with. Like I actually think that people are finding, oh, I would rather hear Frankie's opinion on something than turn on the news because I trust Frankie more than whoever this is going to be that's sharing it. And I think that that's actually a really beautiful thing because it creates this more human to human connection where you can find somebody that you like, you really resonate with, and you can get the facts through them, right? And listen, sometimes people do that and they do it with ill intent and they don't share the truth, right? But I do think that most people that are listening to podcasts at this point, they're pretty smart. And so they're able to like filter out like who's telling the truth, who's not, right? Who's building a good reputation with listeners and who's actually here to serve. And so for me, I think that it's stepping on to be something really special. And I think we're still at the infancy of what podcasting will become.
Yes, definitely. And if I it's very hard. Like if someone were to say like, what's like your top 10 favorite podcast episodes? I'm just like, oh geez, that's like I can't even answer that. But one that's a big standout to me is Mark Maron's final episode of his WTF podcast. He had Barack Obama on, and I remember just listening to that, and I'm just thinking like, Mark Maron did on a podcast what some of the news outlets kind of struggle to do. I'm like I feel like I know Barack Obama as a person now way more than I ever would have had I seen him on a CNN interview where he's got like 5 minutes or whatever the case may be. The fact that you're able to really connect with people on that level. And it's even how would you compare podcasting to radio? Because I mean, obviously, I mean, I always someone said this one time. I said this is actually a good point. Podcasting is a lot like a radio, except you can pause it and restart. Whereas radio, it's you have to listen at this time. I actually did that this morning. There were some people that I know were on there, and I had to listen at a certain time because they don't re-release the interviews. I have to listen to it live, or I'm never going to hear it again. So would you compare podcasting to radio? Like, how would you kind of note some of the similarities, differences, and just the overall reach that one or the other has?
Yeah, I've got the utmost respect for people that come from radio or they're in radio. It's a much more difficult medium than podcasting. To your point, you can pause, right? Like, and it's not necessarily, it's usually not live. And even if it is, you can still go back and edit it. And like the main thing is the recorded version of it when radio is like truly live. Now, I will say, like, I think that, so I respect those individuals that are doing that and that are like even moving into podcasting from radio. Like that takes a lot. They pave the way for us in many ways. This is like almost radio 2.0. It's like the next version of radio. And the reason I say that is because podcasting is the way that I see the future wanting to consume media and information. If you think about it, podcasting is the least intrusive form of media you can consume. What I mean by that is it doesn't demand you to be somewhere at a certain time, a certain place. It doesn't demand your eyes. You don't need to watch it. All it wants is your ears and on your own schedule. Like, talk about like truly not an intrusive form of media. And if we're to look at the pace of the world, that's what people want. They want it on their terms, when they want it, how they want it. And podcasting really does deliver that for anybody. And to me, that's one of the reasons I think it's growing so much. As a matter of fact, it was actually February 2026. So very recent time of recording this, podcasting overtook radio in the United States, at least, of more listenership. So more people are now listening to podcasts than the radio. And like, that's the first time that that's ever happened here. And again, I just think it's the future. I'm not saying radio people are out. I'm saying like maybe they need to jump on the podcasting medium, right? Because it really is like it's the extension, the future of what radio is. And the last thing I'll share here about radio that was better and is better is the fact that to get a spot on radio, you have to actually be good. To start a podcast, you don't have to be good. And so many of us, we get into space, again, going back to the expectations things, we get in and we're like, I can do this, so people should listen. No, we don't deserve to have people listening just because we can do it. We have to actually be good. And so when radio people move over, they tend to do really well because they understand I've got to be good if I want people to listen. Not, I don't earn my listeners just by starting, right? I have to actually do something that's entertaining, that's going to be enjoyable for someone to consume. And so to me, like it's an extension of it. And I actually love seeing people come from radio into podcasting. I think it's a really healthy thing to see happening.
Oh, it truly is. And best way to compare it to, I would say it's almost like the difference between film and theater. With film, you can stop and redo the scene. Theater, you just got to keep it going, and that's kind of the same deal with radio for sure. It's a big, there's a lot to it, and it's thankfully that we've been able to. I also love what you said too about not really having to be good at podcasting to start a podcast. It's so funny. I keep all of my older episodes like they're still out there. I hear of some people who delete all of their old stuff because they're embarrassed by it. I'm like, no, I leave it out there because I think it's also kind of inspiring for people to watch and listen to it and go, wait, look how terrible his quality was. If I had like a terrible Zoom connection on here or something like that, I would edit that out. When I started, I would leave it all in. And I look back on it now, I'm like, why did I do that? Why did that was terrible, but you kind of learn by going, like nowadays, if I heard that, I'm like, I'm not releasing this episode until it's perfect. You know what I mean? So I'm like zooming in and everything. Whereas back then it's like, just put it up. The audio sounds fine, even though it's very staticky and there's a lot of pauses and stuff. But I think it's good for people to listen to that and go, okay, you don't really have to be the pro podcaster. You don't have to be a pro at it. It's just, if you really love doing it, if you love talking, that's a big thing too. You still learn lots every day. That's the one thing. It's like, even if you're like the best of the best, you're still going to learn stuff every day. Is there still something that, in creating this platform in podcasting, is there something still that you're like, yeah, I need to work on this, or I need to work on that? Like, do you still find stuff every single day that you are like, yeah, I got to get my crap together,
Absolutely. I mean, I hope that I hope I never become the guy who's arrived, Frankie. I don't want to be the guy who's like, I'm perfect, I've learned everything, right? I didn't mean to I almost stepped into like a Trump impression there, and that's fitting maybe. But like,
I'm perfect here. I don't need to do anything else to make my podcast better.
Yeah, exactly. No, I never want to hit that point of being like on my high horse, or like I've arrived. I'm never going to get there. As a matter of fact, I always consider myself the number one student in the podcasting industry. I learn every single day. And today I'm learning how to communicate better with my audience beyond social media. That is my focus today. Sitting down, thinking about like, how do I communicate better with individuals that are maybe not hearing my podcast yet, maybe aren't on PodMatch yet, but they're also not on social media. Like, how do I communicate with them? I'm learning that. So I'm learning how to become a better communicator. That is literally my task for today. And it's a joy. I think that learning the process, the practice of it, that should be part of the fun that we have in this thing. And so to your point as well, I kept all my original episodes. Do I sound terrible? Yeah, probably. Like I record on my cell phone. I was too cheap to go out and buy that $12 microphone that you bought, Frankie. I just talked in my iPhone. It sounds awful. But the reality is, like, that was part of my process. It's part of my journey. And I think that people being able to hear that is great, because that's a human experience. Growing and learning is part of humanity, and we don't want to ever hide that from people.
No, God, no. God, no. And that's why I always love people who are like me, where they want to keep the older episodes out there so others can see it and go, well, just because like my favorite podcast probably is the Monday Morning Podcast by Bill Burr is probably my favorite cast because it's Bill Burr's also his ability where like he very rarely has guests on. He will have some guests here or there, but it's always him just talking, like just talking for an hour, and he still keeps everyone so engaged in what he's talking about, whether he's rambling about his dog or he's rambling about going on, or like whatever the case may be. But even you see in some of his very very first episodes, you can tell that he just recorded off of probably not even a phone. He probably recorded on an iPod or something. I don't know what he would have recorded on. The audio quality was just like second, like non-existent. But it's great. Like everybody starts somewhere. Everyone has to start somewhere, and it's important for people to see that, because if they start off and their audio quality isn't like this, they're like, well, there's no point in starting it. It's like, no, it's like you got to work to that. You got to build up to that point. Same reason why people go to school. You can't graduate and just be a doctor immediately. You got to work. You got to go to school. You got to learn how it all works and everything. So, and podcasting, it's much like everything in the world, I'm still learning stuff every day. And I'm sure, like, years from now, I'll listen back to one of these old episodes and go like, oh my God, like why did I release that? I could look back at this episode and go, oh my God, like why did I?
I mean, hopefully we do one day, right? Because we grow and we evolve, we get better. So hopefully we do. Not that we'd ever, like to your point, we're never taking these episodes down. You and I are same chord with that. Like we're never going to do it. But hopefully we look back 2-3 years and say, ooh, man, I've learned a lot. But the reality is, if people are hanging with us now, they're going to hang with us then too. So I think it's okay.
Yes, no, exactly. And then I like to do the odd time here and there for like the big like milestone episodes, like 100, 150 type deal. I like to throw a little throwback episode just to kind of like, hey guys, this is what we sounded like back then, you know? So just so yeah, it's kind of inspiring for like new listeners and things like that. And so as we kind of wrap up here, I mean, we could talk all day about podcasting and what you've done. For me as a creator, PodMatch has helped tremendously. And just being able to get to the point that I can grow, and that I am able to, like, it used to be the point where I was like, oh my God, the episode comes out in 2 days and I don't have a guest, whereas PodMatch, it's at the point that I don't have to worry about that anymore. Like I always have people who are also interested to come on. There's people who it's almost like one of those things that there's regulars I have on. Like I've been able to get it to the point now where I have regulars on the show that are like, hey, if you ever need a guest, like last minute, like if someone cancels, like let me know, I'll come on. Shout out Bob Lament, who's also a fellow PodMatch user. He's always my go-to sometimes. If he's like, do you need a guest? Like I can hop on like whenever you want. And it's truly great that we've been able to get it to that point. So I want to thank you tremendously, Alex, for all of your help in that regard. If you kind of had to give maybe a piece of advice for somebody listening who maybe they still want to start a podcast, they're interested in starting a podcast, but they're kind of nervous to take that step, what would you say to them?
Yeah, what I would say is that anything worth doing is going to take a little bit of friction. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. And sometimes it's fear that steps in. Like we're scared of what people think. We're scared of how we're going to sound. We're scared of potentially even failing. There's this quote that really helped me leave my corporate job and go full time with PodMatch, full time with podcasting. It was this: courage means being afraid, then doing what you have to do anyway. And so what I want to leave everybody with is to take courage. It might be scary, might be kind of daunting, might be something that's just so unknown, right? But it means you got to take courage and you got to step in and do what you got to do anyway. And the reason you got to do it is because there's someone who's looking to be entertained by you. There's someone who's looking for a breakthrough in their life because of the content you're going to share. If your voice can help one person, get out there and do it. Podcasting, even if it didn't become a career, was still and still will be and still will always be the most rewarding thing I've ever done for my own personal development and my impact I've made in the world. Like podcasting is the thing. And so I encourage you, take courage. And even if you're afraid, go do what you got to do anyway. Because I'm telling you, it's going to be worth it in the long run.
Trust me, guys, as a user of PodMatch, as a podcaster myself. It's truly, I can't even continue to put into words how much it's helped me grow as a creator and everything. So you guys can join PodMatch. There's our link in our episode description to our link to sign up today, whether you're a guest, you're a host, whatever the case may be. You're an author who wants to promote a book. You're a musician who's going on tour and you want to promote your tour. Whatever it is, be sure to join PodMatch using our link in the episode description. Alex, thank you so much for taking the time to come on here. Really, really appreciate it. Where can people find you on social media, PodMatch, and all that stuff?
Yeah, thanks again for having me. I mean, I really respect what you're doing here. I'm honored to have been here today. If you want to find out more about me, if you just go to podmatch.com/free, you can see everything I do. And that page will just give you 9 quick ideas to be a podcast guest or host, like aspiring guest, aspiring host. Give you 9 quick ideas. Doesn't ask for your email address or anything like that, but you can connect with me from that page. You'll find anywhere you want to connect with me, I'll be there. And by the way, I don't have like any executive assistant. I don't use AI. I don't use any virtual assistants. Like if you reach out, you're going to actually get me. So again, that's podmatch.com/free. But I really recommend, I'm gonna hang out here. You got a great thing going, man. Like Frankie, I really admire the way that you podcast, the way that you lead. So thank you again. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you, man. I really, really appreciate it. It means a lot coming from you, someone who's been doing this and has built this empire. Really, it really is an empire. And of course, Alicia, Jesse, all of your amazing team. It's truly fantastic. So thank you again, man. It's truly helped a lot. And hope you have a great day, good rest of your week. And also, guys, we didn't really talk much about this. Podcasting Made Simple. Be sure to go check that out. If you're looking for tips on how to be a better podcaster, if you're an aspiring podcaster and you want tips on how to get started, be sure to go check that out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And it is well worth the listen for sure. So thank you again, Alex, for coming on. I really appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Frankie. I appreciate you.
Anytime, man. Anytime. Guys, thank you all for listening to the Corcoran Entertainment Show today. We'll see you guys in the next episode. But until then, this is Frankie and Alex signing off. Cheers, man.